Members asked a question that's worth pursuing, actually, and I want to make 2 points that actually are important at this stage. And I want to respond to the question he's asked about the appointment of directors. And let me just make this point. Thank you very much. Let me just make this point, Mr. Chairman, that while it's true that there are to be 7 directors of each of the CCOs, the government has made a decision that that 5 will be filled prior to the 1st of November. There will be 2 vacancies available for the Auckland Council to appoint if they wish. But I should also make the point that someone read out that the Minister will be consulting with the mayors so that there is general agreement as to who is appointed. So that's actually important with the current mayors. But I should also just make it very clear that from the 1st of November, if the Council are not satisfied with the directors that have been appointed by the government prior to the 1st of November, they have every right to change them. And so from the 1st of November, it is entirely in the hands of the Auckland Council as to who became and who stay on or don't stay on as the directors. Indeed, apart from the Transport CCO and the Water Care CCO, which runs on through to 215, if the Council decide that there will be the other 5 are not to function and become committees of Council, that too can be as the Council's decision. We took that decision for the very reason that people kept saying to us, we don't want Wellington to control us, we want Auckland control. So we have done our best to ensure that Auckland make those decisions, and I think the member raises a very good point, and I think there's a very good response to it as best as we could. I just want to make one other point, Mr. Speaker, that we've been debating this now for the best part of 3.5 hours, maybe even close to 4, and I think we've heard the concerns of the opposition. And I just remind the opposition that one of the roles that the opposition have is to oppose, and you've certainly done that for the last 4 hours. I think it's fair to say you've made your points of the things that concern you. But it's also the duty of the opposition to propose. And the one thing that I am disappointed in is I haven't heard any alternatives. I would like to. I know this. I know. I've seen a SOP by the Honourable George Hawkins, and. Oh yes, there's 1 or 2, but what I'd really like to hear is, given the concern about the local boards, for example, and the concern about the powers, etc., of the CCOs, I'd really like to hear the detail of how the opposition would have prescribed the functions of the local boards and how they would have arranged the funding of the local boards. Because, as you know, the government have been very clear to say that once the Auckland Transitional Agency specify the functions that the Waitakere Board might have, or the Franklin Board might have, or the North Shore Board might have, then those become the functions of the board and can't be taken off them. And if there's 300 or if there's 500 functions given and there's funding given, the Auckland Council can't just the next day say, well, we don't like it, we're going to take them off them. They can't do that. Those functions that are allocated by the ATA become the permanent functions of that board, and the only way they can be changed is by negotiation between the Council and the board, and by agreement. And so that's what the government have done. Now, if the opposition aren't satisfied with that system, then we'd be very keen to see what the alternative is, and whether, indeed, there's a better alternative. Because this government actually is prepared to listen. We've listened to 1 or 2 of the proposals put forward by the opposition, and we're considering whether we'll give them support or not. And we're prepared to listen on both those issues. If you've got a better system of accountability for the CCOs, we'd love to hear it. If you've got a better proposition in the way in which we can arrange the functions and prescribe them and give more definition to them, well, please tell us. We'd be very keen to hear them, because that is also the role of the opposition. Disappointingly, so far in the 4 hours of debate we've had, we've had 1 or 2 SOPs, but we haven't had significant SOPs that, if you are concerned about issues, we would expect that a good opposition might put them forward. So I look forward to those proposals being put on the table so that we can debate those, Mr. Chairman.